Yo, what's going on, everybody? What's happening, man? My name is Stephen Worthy,
Yo, yo, what up, though? It's your boy E-Dub.
and this is Firm Fatherhood, getting ready to tackle another important topic about fatherhood. Today, we're going to be talking about parental alienation without the buzzword. Parental alienation without the buzzword, all right? So, what we're going to be talking about here is a second installment of what we feel like needs to be heard and taught when it comes to co parenting. We're going to talk about how alienation hurts the kids, hurts the family, hurts the entire situation. We're going to go into depth and see what we can find out, man. What you think about that, Doug?
Hey, man, this is a beautiful topic. The people seem to be responding well to these co-parenting conversations. So let's take a deeper dive into this. Like you
Absolutely.
said, we're gonna call this one parental alienation without the buzzword because sometimes the issue isn't so dramatic and obvious. A lot of times it's subtle and really it can be overlooked and missed at some point. So we're here to tackle some of those things.
Hey, man, let's get down to it, man. Let's kind of get in this thing and see what we need can do to actually find some solutions to what it is we're talking about. Last episode, we talked about communication versus control. Today, we're going deeper into something that a lot of parents experience, but don't always have the language for. Um, so, what do you think we're going to be doing here today, man? What's the map? What's the roadmap? Where are we going to start off at?
We want to talk about those little subtle things that are done, by either parent. We're not here to badmouth the mom or the dad. We're just here to address the situations and talk about, those little things that you may do that you don't even realize you're doing, or maybe having done to you and you don't realize what's really going on. So we're here to look at some situations and address them
Yeah,
accordingly.
yeah, yeah. So, like you said, man, before we even start, this conversation is about blaming moms. It's not about blaming dads. It's about behaviors, patterns, and how kids can get caught in the middle without anyone realizing the damage is being done. Right. So,
Ab- Absolutely.
so we're going to talk about. We're going to start off with subtle behaviors that create distance. When people hear parental alienation, they imagine extreme situations. But most of the time, it doesn't look extreme, right? It looks like day to day things that happen all the time. It looks small. Comments like, your dad is busy, your mom wouldn't understand, uh, we'll just handle it here. Some of those subtle things insinuating something like the other parent isn't equipped to deal with it, and hey, we don't even have to bother them with this situation. We could just take care of it. And they can be just as harmful as anything else. As anything else as blatant or disrespectful. So, talking points. Um, Tone matters more
Absolutely.
than words. More than words. The way you say something, the way you express yourself to your child knows you just as well as anybody else, probably better. So she knows, he or she knows, hey, mom rolled their eyes for a certain reason, or um, this is a situation where she doesn't want me to contact my dad or my mom, like, alienating one either or as far as the parents are concerned. Eye rolls, sighs, sarcasm around the other parent, limiting emotional space for the child to love both parents, kids absorbing emotional cues. You and I both know in situations where uh, the kid may be even be afraid to go to their mom to say, "Well, can I involve dad with this situation?" And vice versa. What are you supposed to do with that?
I remember growing up, one of the things my mom instilled in me is if an adult tells you that let's keep this between us, all the more reason to bring it straight to mom or dad. So,
Mhm.
and that goes for, the parenting or the co-parenting situation. If mom or dad tells you, hey, let's keep this between us, you probably should address it with the other parent.
Yeah,
Just, hey, let's just be upfront and honest with it. Let's have an open and honest conversation. Kids don't need instruction to distance themselves. They read emotional energy and
yeah,
they're really good at it. So, like you said, those sighs or that sarcasm, it speaks volumes. And I, for one, have fallen, I fall into that sarcasm thing real well. I speak it a
hmm
second.
hmm
It's almost like my native tongue. So,
hmm
when I was researching this, I was like, yeah, I probably did that quite a bit. So I had to
Hmm.
self-check, like, yeah, don't do that. No, let's
Yeah.
let's correct that behavior going forward.
Hmm. Hmm. Children naturally align with the environment that they spend the most time in. So
Hmm.
that's just survival. That doesn't have anything to do with betrayal. That has to do with, hey, I live here every day. I got to see mom every day. Why would I go against her? And then, my life is upside down from this point forward. No one wants to do that. Anybody within their right mind would do what they need to do to make sure that their life is okay and it's not a bunch of crazy stuff going on at home. Alienation often starts as emotional influence, not intentional harm. So we just have to be careful, man. I'll never say that I may not have done this or put in a position where I was angry or upset about something and my emotions got the best of me in the moment. Um, being a non-custodial parent, it felt like I was always on the outside looking in. So when I had opportunities where it was me that got to kind of hold the control in that situation, I can't lie. I can't say that I've never done this before, and I had to check myself. I had to get bigger than that and better than that if I wanted better for my children.
Especially when you're holding the chips. You
Yeah.
got all the bargaining tools. You like, it's
Hmm.
to show out. It's hard. It's easy to fall into those traps. So let's just be wary of that and let's be mindful
Yeah.
and walk with intention.
Right. 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 Um, they don't want to go. Every father has heard this.
Yes.
Every father has heard this. They don't want to go today. It's your turn to pick them up. It's your weekend. It's your day. You have something planned. Everything is going. Heck, let's go a little bit deeper. It happens to be their birthday. It's your turn to get them this time for their birthday. You have planned a party, a get together. You plan something with your family, and all of a sudden you get a phone call within the last hour saying that they don't want to go today. How do you handle that situation, or how have you handled that situation in the past if you've ever dealt with it?
Typically, in my situation, it's not when you have something planned, it's when you don't have anything planned. Like we just kicked
Hmm.
it in the house. Birthday parties, they tend to get amped up for, but when it's like we just chilling, this off week or whatever,
Right.
they like,
Right.
I don't want to go. We just gonna be in the
Hmm.
house and we ain't gonna do nothing.
Hmm.
You gotta stay consistent. But the question that you have to ask yourself is, whose voice is that? Is that the child or is that the co-parent making the child?
Hmm. Hmm.
Do you
Right.
really want to go? What are y'all doing? Like,
Hmm.
what did he cook for you? Or y'all, you know, it's all those
Yeah.
little subtle things. Like, and then
Yeah.
the kid is looking like I was excited, but I really don't want to go now because now
Yeah.
they're afraid of how they may make the co-parent feel.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
parent, whoever has the custodial parent.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Children seek emotional safety. Kids mirror the feelings of the primary environment. Loyalty conflicts create loyalty conflicts create anxiety. Children may reject a parent to avoid tension.
That
Um,
part.
yeah, 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 because they know, you know, it, it's hard to please both sides. I really feel sorry for kids in that situation because sometimes it can feel like you're in the middle, without, really understanding what really is going on. Uh, but I've been there before. As kids get older, become teenagers, have their own life, their own schedule, whether that be work, extracurricular activities at school. It becomes more and more difficult for that child to drop everything and come to your house. Now, there's certain things that can help with that. If you're living in the same school district as your child, or any things like a similar neighborhood, not very far at all, that really helps. But in a lot of situations and cases, mom and dad live totally across town from one another, and you're gonna
Yep.
have to drop a few things in order to spend time with dad. In order to be able to do something like that, and it becomes a little bit more difficult for the kids as they get older.
Yeah.
So, you know, a
When
child saying, yeah, a child saying that they want to go doesn't always mean rejection. Sometimes it means pressure. You know, mom might be at the house like, hey, do you really want to go? We're just gonna go to the mall, maybe get you a pair of shoes or something, dangle a little something out there for you. And they're like, Dad, can I just come next weekend? Like, yeah, And the first time you do that, it kind of leads to, every other weekend at that point because they think that you don't mind missing a weekend or two. But I would tell all the fathers out there, Hey, stand on your time. Make sure you let your child know that it's important that you see them and that you need to carve out some specific time for one another. Well, I understand that schedules can be a little crazy and conflicting, but it's important that we spend time. So we need to kind of come together and know how important this is and put those other things down for a second or two to spend time with dad.
especially when they're younger, because like you said, when they get older, they
Mhm.
gonna have their own things. Like I got practice, I got, my best friends having this function or whatever. I want to go kick it with them. So
Yep.
when they're younger, you really have to create that environment. And I'm talking to both parents. You got to create
Hmm.
that environment where they feel okay to make decisions.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
Now, if it's a legit reason why they don't want to go, maybe you need to have a conversation with dad. Maybe the kid needs to have a candid conversation with dad. But if everything's on the up and up and they just feel like, "Oh, okay, I don't want to go because I'm being disloyal to, the other parent, to the custodial parent." No, it's up to the custodial parent to encourage that, like, or have that conversation. Why don't you want to go? What's going
Right.
on? Your dad is doing this. This is you guys' time.
Hmm.
Talk them up. Don't talk them down. Soon as
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
soon as they say,
Motivate
I
them.
don't want to go, you like, "Oh, that's it. Rain, what's happening? Yeah,
Yeah.
she not coming. He not coming. Wait, what?
Yeah.
Hold
Yeah, kind of nudge them in the right direction, man, because it's important for a child to be able to have both mother and father encouraging and in their corner. It's priceless. So do whatever you need to do to make sure your child has that, because not all of us do. So it's important that if they have that, you know, encourage it to your child. There's
on.
nothing wrong with that. Kids don't want to disappoint either parent, so they choose the path with least emotional resistance. Children avoid conflict, not parents.
There
You
you
know
go.
what I'm saying? So with that uncomfortable feeling, I gotta go over here and see dad. I missed the last two the weekends with him. I know he's gonna have something to say. I know he's gonna be upset with me. Make that situation easier for him. Reach out to him. Hey, honey, I'm really looking forward to seeing you. I don't care about the other past two weekends. I'm looking forward to. I got a few things planned for us, and we're gonna have a good time with one another. So encourage that. Encourage your kids to come through. There's no, I'm not holding any grudges over here, baby. I'm waiting to see you. So
And have those conversations up front. Don't wait
yeah.
till, if they're supposed to come Friday, and you having the conversation Thursday night. No, let's talk about it. Okay, you didn't come last weekend, Monday morning. Hey, what happened? What happened? How
Yeah.
did we get here?
What's going on?
Another conversation Wednesday or Thursday. Hey, man, I'm looking forward to you.
Hmm.
This is what we got going on. You coming through? Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Hype them up. Hype
Yeah.
them. Yep.
Absolutely. And sometimes that time with your child, is also, being able to, all right, let's compromise. What is it that you like to do? What is it that you want to do? Do you got something going on or event at school that is important to you that you want to go to? Okay, I'll come or I'll take you and pick you up. Sometimes it's just about, being integrated in their life, whatever it is they got going on and whatever it is that they're doing. You show an
Mhm.
effort like that, it'll cut down on all that. I can't come to your house this weekend, Dad, because I got all these things going on. I know you got all these things going on. I got it on my schedule as well. I'll be taking you, making sure you get there. I'm not trying to interrupt that, but I want to spend time with you as well. They'll be a
I
little bit more hesitant.
I
Yeah.
actually want to be a part of that.
Yes. Yes.
We
That's
talked about
exactly.
this in another podcast. Like you need to be a part of your kid's life, and whoever is being, in charge of situations that they're a part of, be it coaches, teachers, guidance counselors, whatever it is,
Hmm.
choir practice. Hey, I'm gonna go sit in the back because I want to make sure everything's on the up and up.
Right. Right. This is how you do it. That's how you do it. Let's talk about the long-term emotional impact that a lot of these things can have on a child and a parent relationship. The real call shows up years later. We know that, man. We talk about this all the time. Those little breadcrumbing, those things that you do, they all add up. Plant the seed, it all adds up. They may not see it right now, but down the road, regardless if it's good or bad, you'll see what that seed grows into come down the road. You'll always know what's going on. Uh, Identity confusion. Am I allowed to love both? That's something that kids have to deal with. Guilt in adulthood, something that they carry with them. And I remember a majority of my childhood, good and bad. So they're gonna take those memories with them as well. Struggles with trust and relationships. Um,
That's a big one.
Parents, yeah, that's a huge one. Your relationship with your child is the basis of all relationships that your child's gonna have come towards the future. regardless whether that's a romantic relationship, friendships, family, all the above. So you want to make sure that you set a good example for what that relationship should look like, and healthy relationship should look like.
Not only your relationship with the child, but your relationship with the co-parent. How do
Right.
you handle conflict? Everything
Right.
ain't gonna be peaches and cream. We all
Mm-hmm.
there's gonna be some conflict. How do you deal
Mm.
with it?
Yeah.
Are you up in arms every time there's a slight bump in the road, or are you like,
Yeah.
okay, let me see how this thing is gonna play out?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that they never forget those things.
They don't. They don't. Because regardless of how you might feel about it, whether you're angry, happy, sad, whatever the case, it's still a healthy way to deal with that situation. And they're
Mhm.
watching how you deal with it. So, you know, make sure that you are aware that they're watching.
You can't crash
Um,
out every time. Like
no.
it's gonna be times where you might need to, but that can't be
Hmm.
your go-to.
No,
Stop.
it cannot. It cannot.
Grow up.
Hmm. Also, difficulty forming secure attachments. Again, I am the example for all relationships. I would hope that my relationship with my daughter is in a healthy way, so that you know going forward how to deal with a man, how to talk with him, talk to a man, how to respect a man. Those things sometimes don't always get taught by mom, depending upon what kind of examples that she has in her life.
Yeah,
So we are on the front line. We are that main example of how you go forward with men and what to do and all the above. So it's important that we set a good example for them. Very
absolutely.
important. Hmm.
They are always watching, whether you know it or not. They are absolutely paying attention.
At all times. When a child feels forced to emotionally choose sides, they don't just lose a parent, they lose parent part of themselves. Ah, man, this really means something to me because I sometimes see on both sides, moms and dads try to choose for their parents, I mean for their kids, what type of relationship should have with them. You hear all kind of things, you can't trust them, your dad is this, you just don't know your dad like I know your dad. All these different things that come up and come about that skew your the way you look at your father or at your parent. Oh man, it's so foul. But without that, you don't have a basis for who you are because you're your mom and your dad. You're a part of both of these human beings, a part of both of these adults. So without one of them, you're kind of at a loss for words as far as how to fill in the lines right there. Like who am I other than this part of me? Who am I when it comes to my father that my mom was always bad talking, but I don't see that. Like it's so confusing. It's so confusing.
Yeah. And it takes them a long time to put everything together. Like you said, we're trying to teach them at a young age. We're giving them jewels at a young age that they don't
Hmm.
really know what to do with. When they turn, 20, 30, they're like, oh, okay, that's what they meant. This is the example that I should have been looking for.
Hmm.
One thing that I really hate is the narrative, and especially in the black community, is you don't need no man. Oh, that sets me ablaze. Like,
Bro.
you're gonna need a man. You need to learn how to deal with man. Even if you feel like you don't need a man, you need to learn how to deal with men or even women. You need to learn how to deal with these co-parenting situations.
Yep. Yep.
Your children
Yep.
are absolutely watching you. You're on stage. Even
Hmm.
if you hate that other person, fake it till you make it. In front of the kids,
And
let's put up this persona, and then we can go argue and duke it out behind closed doors.
just a little jewel that I like to drop. You can tell a lot about a person's about the when it comes to the relationships that they hold. Look at the relationships they have with their friends, their romantic relationships, family. If they're all in a disaster mode type of situation, if you're always falling out with someone, if it's always an issue, a fight, or something going on, and you see that at every level of every relationship in that person's life, something is going on, something is happening. You got some turbulence going on. I try to teach my kids to not let their emotions get the best of them and run them, because if that's the case, you'll have turbulence in every single relationship that you got going on. You got to make sure to be able to self-check yourself and see who you are and what role you play in the toxicity or whatever it may be or whatever you got going on. I mean, that's important to be able to look at yourself and be able to pick that out and know that it's something that you need to work on yourself.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah, yeah. Many adults reconnect later and realize the story they were told was incomplete. Children grow up and eventually they compare memories to reality. And that light comes on, aha, aha. Like all that stuff that I was told, like that doesn't even make any sense. It never fit. But now that I'm getting bits and pieces of reality and starting to understand this as I get older, I start to be able to, put the truth together myself. I don't need to ask anybody. I can see it for myself.
Consistency beats influence over time. I try to
Yep.
stay consistent with my kids. The message
Hmm.
is the same. I'm right here all the
Yep.
time. And a
Yep.
lot of times when especially the other co-parent is not getting their way, it'll go up like a heartbeat. It'll go up
Hmm.
and down. Like, oh,
Yep.
you with your dad, they going up.
You're right.
Don't come back down until they feel like, okay, I can relate to you again.
Hmm.
And kids are like, oh, that's what he was talking about, or that's what
Hmm.
she was talking. So you
Yep.
just, it's the long game. You have to be consistent in your message. Be I'm sorry, the even tone
Yeah. Yeah.
throughout.
Yeah.
Very important. Very
Right,
important.
right, absolutely. Especially as dad. As dad, that's really what you want. You want to be able to come to it, and regardless of what the situation is and what they're bringing to you, you can be calm, accept whatever it is they're telling you, and be able to kind of, okay, well, this is what we need to do from this point forward. It's important as fathers to be that even keel, so they don't feel like if I go to him, he's gonna go off, he's gonna snap. Like, no, let's figure this out. We can learn what the lesson is later on, but let's figure this out. Let's figure this out.
I remember a lot of times my kids would come to me and be like, don't go off. And I'm like, when have I ever really
Yeah,
seen that side?
yeah,
There are
yeah,
times where I might, step out of, line every now
yeah.
and again. But when they hit me with that don't go off, I'm like, you really ain't seen me go off.
Yeah, yeah. You don't really know that side of me, but
Yeah.
I would tell you when I go off, it's usually because of their safety. It's something that's going
Oh,
on that
yeah.
could have went on, and it could have went a lot worse than that. Usually, when I kind of go overboard, it's because of something dealing with their safety, something that they did that I don't want them to ever do again, or something that they did that could have really cost them something safety wise. So that's usually when I feel like I'm not getting that point across, then I blow my top, and that's still not a good way to do it. But
But even then, you're leading with love. Am I right?
right, right, that's exactly what I'm leading
It's
with.
like you've never seen me really take the gloves off with my
Yeah,
kids. Yeah,
yeah,
I may raise my voice, I may come with a firm tone,
yeah,
but
yeah.
you ain't never really seen me like spaz
No,
out.
no, no, not like some stranger on the street. Absolutely
Right.
not. Absolutely not. That's not how that go. So we talked about all this stuff, man. We put a lot of different meat on this bone. Let's talk about some questions and some solutions. Um, so at what point does protection become persuasion? What does that look like, in a co-parenting situation?
When protection limits fear, it's healthy.
Mhm.
I feel like it's healthy then.
Yeah,
When protection limits relationships, it becomes persuasion.
right, right, right.
So
It becomes something totally different.
yeah, you can't really act out of that, oh,
Mhm.
do this. And you're almost like a fear monger.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, don't do this. Your dad is going to spaz out. Your dad is going to do that, or your mom doesn't like it when you do this. I'm okay
Hmm.
with it. That's not cool. Not
No, it's
cool
not
at all.
cool at all. That's cool. That's not cool at all. That's being manipulative, and that just never works out for anybody. How can fathers respond without looking defensive?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Because a lot of times it feels like no matter what you say, what you do, you look at him, he's being defensive.
yeah.
I think the best way to do that is to stay consistent, not
Yeah, you've
react.
been you've been saying that. Yeah, stay
Yeah, you,
consistent.
you have to be consistent, even when you
Mm-hmm.
are pissed off to the highest level of pissivity.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, hold on. I
Yeah,
can't show my hand. Let me
yeah,
go in the back and think about it, run through the emotional gambit, and then respond. But you
yeah.
cannot react. You have to respond. There is a
Mm.
difference.
It is. It is. Um, Avoiding speaking negatively about the other parent as well. And I think about that answer a lot, Doug. Kind of like I think it's okay when the child is old enough to have open, honest conversation about maybe what the relationship looked like, what was happening. When you feel like they're old enough to have that type of conversation, because there's a lot of stories being told back and forth, maybe even by family members. And I think it's important that your child hear your side of what's going on from you when they're old enough to be able to consume it and understand it.
Yeah.
So other than that, all that negativity going back and forth about the other parent, no. But some actual truth telling in a stage where they can actually understand what's going on and what it is that you're trying to say, I think that's okay.
Oh, absolutely. Because
Yeah,
everybody has a story. It's their story, it's your story, and somewhere in the middle lies the truth.
right, right.
Everybody should at least get the mic and say, "Hey, this
Yeah.
is my truth."
Yes, yes. This
But,
is what's
but
going
it
on.
has to be age appropriate. You can't have a
Mm.
conversation with a 7-year old. Please don't.
No, 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 no. Some other practical responses for dad: focusing on connection and not correction. That's kind of difficult for some dads because as men, we want to fix. If you give us something that we think is broken or is wrong, baby, that's not. We always want to correct. It's out of love. It's out of
Mhm.
love. But when you have your kids for a weekend, you don't want to spend the entire weekend correcting, raising your voice, hollering back and forth. That's something that you really want to get caught up in. You want to make sure that you love on your kid when you got your kid. Unfortunately, sometimes for us, it's an every other weekend situation or a day or so every other week, depending upon what your parenting time guideline says in your state. It just depends. But you want to use that time to actually connect with your child because you're missing out on so much not being there every single day. You don't want to use that all with correction. You got plenty of time for correction. Use it for connection.
That's a whole that's a whole episode right there because
Yeah,
the
yeah,
time is limited. Like you said, depending on how much time you get with each child,
yeah.
you get them, Friday to Sunday or whatever that may be, and
Mm,
you're constantly correcting or showing them how to behave in this environment, which may
mm,
be a whole 180 different than the other co-parent.
yeah, yeah.
Trying to unteach some things, you're trying to, show them structure, but at the same time, you don't want to spend your entire, 72 hours teaching. You want to have some fun with your kids as well.
Right, right. It just makes sense. But it's difficult. Sometimes we feel like being with mom. Mom can be a great parent, but you know how dads feel. We feel like they're not getting that
Structure.
dad side of it. They're not getting that. I got to discipline him or her. You've been gone for too long. You know, you get caught up in that. And like, hey man, as long as you continue to be consistent, like you said, you'll get an opportunity to install that discipline as well, but it's important. You can't have that discipline without the connection. It's difficult to do. You know, it's difficult
It's
to
a
do.
it's a bank. It's a love bank. You have to
Yep,
pour into them to pull things out of them.
you
So
do. You do. You do. Most definitely. The goal isn't to win against the other parent. The goal is to remain emotionally available to your child. Kids remember who felt safe, not who argued, the most or the loudest or the best. That's not what they'll remember.
just because you loud don't mean that you win in the argument.
It don't mean you right at all. Loud does not
Does
mean
not
right.
equal right. Yes.
No, it does not. It does not. Please remember that one. The louder one does not necessarily be the right one. It's just the one that's the loudest, and usually the other part, you got it. I'm good on that. I'm not
Mentally
arguing anymore.
fatigued, you waving a white flag like, all
Yeah,
right,
I give. You win. It's all on you. It's
you
all on you.
embarrassing me, you embarrassing yourself. I'm done.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Um, man. You know what? In closing, parental alienation doesn't always start with bad intentions. Sometimes it starts with hurt adults trying to protect themselves.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, you know what I'm saying? But responsibility is making sure children never carry adult emotions. That's not fair. That's not nothing that we should be able to have to put on our kids. That's a huge load. It can be detrimental for them going forward in the future. If you're a father going through this, stay steady, stay present, stay loving.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Even while you're disciplining,
Yeah,
it's that whole the sandwich mentality. Say something good, talk about what you need to talk about, and then come back with love. You
right.
have to leave. I'm sorry, you have to lead and leave with love.
Always,
Always.
always, always. And like Dub has been saying the entire episode, because consistency over time speaks louder than influence in the moment. So it is important to be consistent in your message, in your presence, and in your love. It's not going anywhere. Continue on the good path. I guarantee you it will work out for you in the long run. It definitely will. It
Yeah.
definitely will. All right. This is part 2 of our co-parenting series. Next episode, we'll be talking about rebuilding trust and creating healthy co-parenting boundaries. We appreciate you coming out, checking us out. Continue to please hitting that like button, that share button, that subscribe button, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, all the above. Reach out to us if you want to have some dialogue and you got a topic that you'd like for us to discuss. But until then, this is Sleeping Worthy.
Earl Wallace,
This
Firm
is Firm
Fatherhood.
Fatherhood. We out.